Welcome back, or welcome if you're new to this channel. And in this video I've made a Stream Deck that's a lot different from the traditional ones and it's easy to make. So here's a little demo of how this works. You could open the site versions of these apps and also the app versions. If you want to switch to the app version of any particular one, you can long press it and that's all. So now Spotify opens as an app. So what is a Stream Deck? It's basically like a launchpad for your PC to open different sites or apps with just a button, and these could be configured to any app or site like YouTube or Spotify, and it's usually a wired device that's going directly to your PC. Now, to recognize these buttons and these actions on your launchpad, your PC requires an additional software or a companion software. So this software is used to recognize each button press and open that dedicated app. But can I do it without that, and can I make it wireless? So I had to take some time on this, and yes, I did finally get an approach, and that was simply using Win+R. Using Win+R, I could open any app or any executable app or just any site on my default browser. And the method to do this was send Win+R and the particular app name or site name using Bluetooth. So to make this as simple as possible, I had an idea and just used 3 components. So I wanted a dial kind of thing or a knob kind of style to scroll through each app. So what is better than using ESP32 OLED and my favorite rotary encoder? The OLED displays the different apps that you have, and rotary encoder will help you choose these. So how does it work? A rotary encoder has 2 basic pins, which is the CLK or DT, or usually called AB. When you rotate these, the pin comes into contact and this generates a signal to the ESP32. Upon this signal, the ESP32 performs an action, which is opening or sending the commands. The rotary encoder also has a switch. You can use the switch to long press where you want to switch from the app or the site version. Example, I have a Discord app, but I want to switch to the site version, I just long press. So these are the different apps, and now I have my encoder. I would suggest you to cut the top pins when you've soldered the bottom, and here's the soldered OLED too, and of course the ESP32. And I wanted to charge this device, so I had a cell and a charging module. So I've used the Adafruit SSD library for the OLED and the BLE keyboard, and I'm thankful for this library and the preferences. So here's the library, you can check this out, and it's a great work done by T-VK. So how's this code working? I've used a structure containing of different arrays, where each array has 3 parameters, which is the name of the app site versions, and all I had to do was replicate one entry on this if I wanted another app. So in this case I didn't have WhatsApp, so I can just replicate this particular array and just change the parameters. So I put WhatsApp, and for the app version I put the app name, and for the site I just put webwhatsapp.com. So finally, after soldering all these, I felt it took too long to respond. For something that's simple of a device and Bluetooth, we need speed and we need it to turn on immediately. So I was not getting that. The problem was that the ESP32 has a voltage regulator which usually accepts 5 volts, but I was giving 3.7 volts. So it has to convert 5 volts to 3.3 volts. But when I was giving 3.7, it was simply not enough or stable for the voltage regulator. So this was the particular pin that accepts that voltage. I can use a buck boost converter, but for now I decided to keep it for the future and keep it simple for now. All I had to do is just power the ESP32 with the cable and simply the other 2 parts soldered. So a little mistake was when an app name has 2 words in it, I wanted it to be in the center, so I simply rectified by placing it in 2 different lines, and now it looks a lot cleaner and I'm definitely happy with this. Now that the prototype is done, I've decided to give it a minimal and clean look. So this was the first version of my design. Well, I have imagined something, but it wasn't really what I thought. So the slant was basically added to make it stand on its own, but the center of mass was way above than what I thought. So it wasn't exactly ideal to my case. So I had to scrap this design and go for the next version. The next version of my design was as clean as possible, and giving it the curved edges gave it an aesthetic, and it looked much better than the previous one. So it was a lot more simpler, and I like the finish of the second print. The major difference between these two prints was I have only one holder which is for the OLED and not for the encoder, whereas the previous one had to hold both the OLED and the encoder, which made it more complicated. And also the major flaw was it increased the height on my print. So as you can see, if I put both the encoder and the OLED, the case was pretty fat. In this new version of my design, it was a lot more simpler, and I was much more happy with how it turned out. And that is the gap for the powering of the ESP32. And finally, the top plate simply aligns with the two cylindrical holes of the OLED holder part, and it looks a bit satisfying, and I'm happy with the overall result. All you have to do now is glue everything together, and for the top plate, simply align it in the end. If you want, you can apply some hot glue on the sides with the top plate and the base part, but I've decided to just keep it like that for now, in case I do any changes in the future. And finally, a little stand for it to sit on. Well, that's it. I hope you like this build, and here's the demo again. And the best feature of this was, if you had an app version of anything, you could simply long press on these apps to switch to the app version. And it's limited to a few apps, of course, like Discord has an app version and the site version, whereas Gmail is just Gmail. You can also check out my other makes. To make it easier, I've come up with a better approach to upload your code on your board. So for the ESP32, if you don't have the drivers, go ahead and install them. In my case, I already have them. In your case, it's a very simple install. So to verify if your board has been installed or not, the drivers, you can go to ports in device manager and connect your board. Once you connect it, Silicon Labs at COM3 or COM5, etc., depending on your system, is going to appear. So you can confirm that your board has been recognized. So for the next step, I've provided you with two files, and you can unzip the flash download tool first. Navigate to the flash download tool until you find the executable application. Select on ESP32, in our case, we have the ESP32 board, and OK. So all you need to do is load 3 files here. And now you have to navigate back to the Streamo Ventron file that I've provided. Unzip this file. Navigate into Streamo Ventron until you find .bin files. So now you can navigate to Streamo Ventron using the browse of the flash download tool. So you can follow the instructions like how I am, and one by one upload these files in the respective columns. The final step here is to write the addresses at where these will be burnt. You just need to mention these numbers, you don't have to worry about anything else. Finally, you have to select at which COM port your board is. In my case, it's COM3. To verify this, you can again check it in Device Manager. While you're uploading the code, press the boot button and it'll automatically finish everything for you. To verify this, you can go to the Bluetooth settings, add your device. The name of the device is Streamo. And you're all done and good to go. You can test out the different things. Make sure that you're uploading the code when your board is soldered but not glued to the parts yet, so you can verify that everything is working.